Hello, this is RV Vagabond Jerry, and today I'm going to show you how to load a motorbike onto a rack like this that is attached to the trailer hitch. Now, first thing you want to do is set your ratchet straps in place for both the up side and down side straps. Get them ready. And then next, you want to take off the ramp. This is the rack the motorcycle sits on, and this is the ramp. So you take this off, and there's a peg right here that goes through a hole that's right there. Keep it on line and keep it in place, and make sure it's straight. Now the hard part is once the bike is in here, getting it up and over this chock. You start with it like this, the wheel hits it like that, and it locks it in place. Now there are two ways of loading the motorbike onto the ramp. One is that you can just push it on, or you can use the engine to assist power in getting it up on. Now if you have someone helping you, the best way is just to have one person push it on while the other person guides the front wheel. But if you're doing it alone, which I do almost all the time, I like to use it with the engine running. I've loaded it a few times myself without the engine running, and it's very difficult. It's much easier to do with the engine running. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So keeping one hand on the throttle and the other hand on the brake. Make sure it doesn't get away from me. At this point, you want to make sure the rear wheel is in proper alignment. And then you go very slowly. This is the tricky part, where you have to give it some gas to get it over the chock without giving it too much gas and getting out of alignment. And if you're not careful, the front wheel can turn a little bit and go off of the rack. Let's see if I can do this without any mishap. There you go. Whew. Now lean it over. And I usually have to pull in this mirror so that it doesn't bump onto the side of the RV. Next, I set the bottom straps in place, and I have the kind where it locks into place. That is the convenience, but it's not really all that necessary. And I found that if these things get bent, it even makes it more difficult. And then you set the top straps. Now I highly recommend you get the kind of ratchet strap where it looks like this, and you can strap it around something and then lock it in place like this. If you don't have the kind of strap that has this feature, then it's going to be more difficult. You might have to have a separate kind of strap to actually hold it on to something. So I highly recommend you get this kind of strap. I put the back one on. And you also need to have a bike where you've got something in back that these straps can hook onto, like this. And make sure that they're resting down to the lowest point. If you have them, if you strap it with it like this, and then you tighten it up, lock it in place, it can slip down here, and then you don't have a tight grip. Another advantage of a style like this is that it's easier to put on the front ones, where you can always leave it hooked and just strap it on like that. Now I start the process of tightening them up. Slip this through here, and it's really important that before you start ratcheting, you get them as tightly as you can, because if you ratchet too much time, they get bunched up in here, and then it can get too bulky in this area to where it's too hard to undo it. So I'm going to pull it forward a little bit, tighten it up, and then start ratcheting. I'm only going to do it a little bit on the front one. So now I've got the back one done, and I'm going to do the front one some more to start tightening it down. But you don't want to go too far for now. I find it's easier to get to the back one this way. This one, put it in the slot, and then down, tighten it up as much as I can, and then start ratcheting. Now at this point, all 4 ratchets are on, so you want to equalize the tightness. And keep in mind the handlebars or the mirror, that you want to keep it tightened up so that it doesn't actually hit the motorhome, or it can cause some damage if it rubs onto it. Tighten this one some more. And you want to test it to make sure that it's strong. And you want to get it tight, but not overly tight. If you go excessively tight, that might cause a problem too. So once you've got it fully ratcheted, as tight as you want it to go, you put that up and it locks it into place. Now I've got all 4 of them done, so you want to double check the tightness of each one. That feels good. Rock it a little bit to make sure there's nothing loose. Now the ends of the straps, you just need to tie them up somewhere so that they're not going to be flying around. You can just use a casual knot to do that. I've never had these work their way loose, so doing it this way works just fine, just to keep those in place. Got the back ones done, and the top ones are not quite so easy, at least on my bike, and you don't have quite as much. They may go a little tighter than the rear ones. It doesn't matter so much what you tie it to, as long as it's going to stay tied like that. And this one I'll do on the handlebar.
Come on, Paolo, let's go home.
There you go. So the only thing left to do is to put the ramp back on. It just sits into place, and a bolt that's on the rack, and then you use a wing nut to keep the ramp. So after you put your wing nuts in place, then you're ready to go. See how easy that is? Easy for one person to do by themselves. So I just wanted to show you how to do that. Good day, folks.